Hello, hey, good day to you. Well, it's another week of your most exploring, entertaining, and youthful program, Take the Lead. And of course, there is no right frequency to tune into on your dial at this hour than West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM from the West Wing of Africa, the heart of Senegal, Dakar. Many thanks for joining the cruise and welcome to this week's edition of our youth magazine program, Take the Lead. I am your host. In today's episode, we are going to look at knowing about insurance policies. Follow me for some intro. In our unforeseen and unpredictable life journey we chart, we can find ourselves in the dark space through accidents, death, illness, fire outbreaks, and burglary, among other disasters that we least expected. It is in that event that insurance companies come in handy to protect the properties that we've worked so much for and mean so much to us. Merriam-Webster defines insurance as a form of coverage by contract whereby one party undertakes to indemnify or guarantee another against loss by a specified contingency or peril. But what are different forms of insurance policies available for us? How do we identify the type and level of coverage tailored to our specific needs? What key roles do insurance businesses play in the explanation to prospective clients to equip them with the relevant knowledge on insurance policies? Joining me in the discussion, focusing on knowing about insurance policies, is my young, vibrant, and resourceful gentleman. Dr. Leslie Axinway is a development economist and an insurance broker with over 15 years of industrial experience from Nigeria. I speak with him exclusively on how we can identify the kind of insurance that meets our needs at a particular time, the key elements or structures every insurance policy must have, and why it's very necessary for people to roll out on insurance policies. He will be my August guest. Okay, so Dr. Way, you are welcome to Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. Good day.
All right, so of course, as an insurance broker with your experience, how do we identify the kind of insurance policies that meet our needs at a particular time?
Okay, although there are different ways in which an individual can identify the kind of insurance policy that meets their need. One probably would be from an insurance marketer who would walk up to him or her and offer the client a product that he needs or the services that best fit his purpose. Then another way could be through happenstance. From a situation you start seeking for an answer. As you search for an answer, you will be able to find perhaps an insurance policy or product that can serve or solve the problem or mitigate risk for your business or your personal protection and so on. So there are just varieties of ways in which an individual can know. As long as there are insurance companies, different insurance companies in the market, no insurance company operating that is not regulated. Is a sector that is highly regulated because it's like also in the financial sector. So if you're dealing with an insurance company, you can be sure that it is an insurance company that is registered and that is good to do business with. So your protection, your safety, the safety of your investment can be guaranteed by virtue of the fact that the insurance company is known to the government and registered to be doing business.
So then I will ask that, what is the need or that which insurance does in our lives?
Wow. Insurance does a whole lot in our life. Apart from, giving us peace of mind, when you have an insurance cover, it gives you a kind of insulation, like a shock absorber in the vehicle. It is for the policy holder, the person who gets an insurance from an insurance company. What happens is that should he suffer loss from his business, he can be remediated, he can be indemnified. And in that process, he would come back to his previous position before an accident or whatever may have happened. So what insurance does is that it doesn't really compensate you more than in excess of what you have. It brings you back to your previous position before something eventually happens to you. So it could be an accident. Maybe you have a motor vehicle and the vehicle get involved in an accident. The insurance company will provide you another car. If it is a car that is fixable, they will fix it. So this remediation or indemnity is a guarantee shock absorber against loss for anyone who procure any of those services from insurance company.
So mostly, you find out that subscribers of insurance policies could be at loss or have certain conditions unmet because they are not able to meet or understand some of these terms and conditions. So I'm asking, which part of an insurance policy is very crucial?
There are insurance company policy document has if document. There is a whole lot of if document, conditionality document. So I call them the fine lines. So if you are subscribing to an insurance product, you contact your financial advisor, you can contact your lawyers to help you interpret those fine lines if you don't understand them. Otherwise, they are usually put in a very simple term. But to some people who are completely novice, it might appear technical. So when it is technical and you don't understand it, you seek for clarification. Among the basic document required for a policy holder to put down your name, your address, your telephone number, your next of kin, and so on. Those are cogent or critical information that the insurance company needs from you. So for you to obtain an insurance product or policy, you provide those informations, then you sign to it. So the condition aspect, you can seek interpretation on what it means. Even the person handing over the policy to you could interpret them to you. But if you need further clarification, you can approach a lawyer or your financial as advisor to give you an advice on the kind of insurance policy you can obtain at any particular time.
So then, can you outline some key elements or structures every insurance policy must have?
Every insurance policy must have name, must have address, must have next of kin, must have the object of interest. That is what you if it is for property, then somebody, if it's a life insurance cover, the person, you must be of good mental health. You must be you must be perceived that it is utmost good faith, which is a principle in insurance, that what you are presenting, you're presenting it based on this is what I know and nothing but this. And insurance company now look at that, believing that this is what you have, in good trust or in good faith, you have provided this information. You can be handed over the policy, and you can have one from there.
Wow. So then, can you tell the difference between what an insurance itself is and what an insurance policy is, or are they the same?
No, they're not completely the same.
Okay.
The policy is a document, the contractual document. In a insurance product, where the underwriter, which is the insurance company, gives to the second party, which is the person who is a client. So when he obtains that insurance, what it's expected of him at that juncture is to read through the contractual agreement. So it's a binding document between the insurer and the insured. Meanwhile, insurance itself is a remediation or an indemnity provided should there be a loss suffered by an insured in the course of the contractual agreement.
Oh, okay. So that means that when there is a loss that happens, it is when that insurance aspect get activated.
Yes.
Okay. So then we hear categories of insurance policies like comprehensive and premium. I mean, what is that? Can you examine that for our listeners?
Good. The comprehensive insurance is like a holistic insurance. Let's say, for example, you take a comprehensive motor vehicle. What you have simply said is that should anything happen to my vehicle, insurance company, you provide me another vehicle. If it's written off, then if anybody is involved in the accident, insurance vehicle company, you take care of that person's losses as well. Then the comprehensive gives you holistic coverage in terms of protest when there is protest. Ideally, the one you call the premium insurance is the minimum insurance or the basic insurance, which is by law. Now, the comprehensive insurance takes care of protest, hurricane, flood, and fire outbreak, and riot during riot situation. Whereas the third-party insurance or the compulsory insurance, which is the premium insurance, is compulsory by an ordinance act, where the law stipulates that everyone who uses a motor vehicle or a commercial building or, engage some men at work must provide this basic insurance. These are statutory, while comprehensive is not statutory. So that makes it optional. The comprehensive is optional. If you don't have the money, you would go for the premium or the third-party insurance or the compulsory insurance, which is basic for all moving vehicles. In fact, it's basic for countries under, that we are colonized by the British.
Okay.
In Nigeria, for example, it is called the Third-Party Ordinance Act. Wherein it's made compulsory for all users. And so it's also gone beyond that for vehicles and now for commercial buildings and for, workmen compensation. These insurance products are compulsory within the law.
So then when the issue happens and insurers are coming to assess the risk, what are some of the things that they look at to be able to, compensate policyholders? What are some of the things that they look at to be able to, compensate them?
Well, good. They look at the insurance company will need an evidence it has happened, perhaps a police report. And there are people who come in between the insurance and the insured. They call them the loss adjusters. Where they look at, okay, what's the risk involved? And in the process, what they do is they try to, look at what the remote and immediate cause of the accident or the event. Then they compensate the person. They indemnify the person against his loss, and bring him back to his previous situation or state before the occurrence.
But there are cases where it seems that it is only when the issue happened that insurance company will tell you that, this one, it doesn't cost this, it doesn't meet the current price and all of that. Why so?
In Nigeria, that should have been so for countries that have not increased the insurance premium rate. In Nigeria currently, the premium rate is raised up so that to accommodate the losses. For a third party, for example, compensation is up to the tune of 1 million and above. While for comprehensive is to the tune of the amount that you suffer in loss. So even the parties involved, if you ram into another vehicle, the vehicle will be repaired, yours will be repaired. It's a covering for you. And that is why those who can afford it would opt for the comprehensive insurance as against the premium, the minimum, or the basic insurance as it used to be. So what happened at that point is that the insurance company takes into recognizance that it's a pool. The premium you're paying is going into a pool of funds that not everybody in the pool will be accidented or will have an eventuality. So they will compensating just an individual. And it's not a challenge with an insurance company because it's part of their work to take risk.
Okay, so I think that was where I was getting to. That do they take care of the individuals plus the properties for comprehensive?
Yes, for comprehensive, you're insulated very heavily.
All right, so in that event, making or signing on to insurance package, can policyholders include more than one people beyond their next of kin, and why?
No.
Okay.
You can't insurance policy. If it is a life insurance, it's for your next of kin. It is for a third party, people involved. And if you are not there, the individual is not there, his next of kin, is indemnified. You can't transfer it. That principle, the policyholder can only transfer his, the burden of benefits or the compensation or indemnity to his next of kin, but not to a party not recognized by the policy document, as it were.
So not even your wife, not even your husband?
If you have put your wife as a beneficiary,
okay,
she benefits if it's a life insurance.
I see. Interesting. So with your experience in this business, what attributes do you and your team, employ that makes you sell or become very successful? How do you reach your target audience? Because a lot of insurance companies are buzzing our phones and doing a lot of ads. Yeah,
I think 15 years ago or thereabout, I worked in the insurance sector. I understand the space very well. At this point, I am partially not in the sector fully. I just consult and help young people who want to come into the insurance business. And also, we live in an era where the insurance space needs, a kind of a scale up in terms of technology. And we have what is known as InsurTech company coming up. So what I do now is I consult for people on insurance business and those who want to take risk in insurance. But when we were in insurance business, we were very successful because we understand the dynamics of risk and how to manage risk and how to protect, provide advisories for clients so they can make better decisions that can reduce the impact of losses.
Interesting. So with all these advisory that you were given, what were some of the ground challenges that you sometimes face? And when you are doing all these assessments and advisory, do you go with the security or something? Maybe you can add all of them.
No, for example, what we have done over the period is providing advisories. In fact, basically trying to help people in this tech space. I've given myself as a volunteer to provide free tech advisory to young people who want to get into the insurance sector.
Oh, wow. That's highly commendable.
Yes, very free for anyone who is an African. You can benefit from that services.
Interesting. So we hear a common term as a claim of an insurance. Can you educate us on that?
Yeah, the insurance claim happens when there is happenstance, when something happens, an eventuality, a loss. There are necessary documents to use to file for a claim. The picture, if it is accidented, police report, and your own report, eyewitness. If there is none, then prompt information to the insurance company. And when you provide this information, the insurance company work on it, and the claim process gets through. When it gets through, you can be indemnified as quick as possible, to make sure that you don't suffer the loss for too long.
But is that really the case? Because I remember a father of mine had his, public transport bus involved in an accident. And to even assess the claim for the insurance company to settle all of this, it took like almost a year. Every day they come to assess something. Today they are assessing mirror, tomorrow they are assessing tires and all of that. And it created frustration.
Yeah, correct. Very correct. There are two reasons. The corruption in the sector over long has contributed to that. Most insurance companies were not really liquid or financially strong enough, so they look for excuse. These were part of the challenge that has, positioned the insurance sector in this bad frame where they are now. But I think with new policies, regulations, increase in supervision from the regulatory authorities, most insurance companies they're sitting up to make sure that claims are paid on time. And more so, if your father has a police report, insurance company works on police report. And that is the reason why it is wrong to go or walk straight to an insurance company, pick up an insurance policy without going through an insurance broker. What the broker does for you is to make sure that he mediates, he intercedes on your behalf. It goes beyond paying the broker premium. So the core part of the work of a broker is to see that the insurance company complies. Probably your dad never went through a broker, he went himself. So, and he doesn't understand all the detail in the devil of the policy. So, whereas a broker is quite used to the document and understand all parts, most brokers are those who have worked in insurance companies with, arid experience. So they understand the in and out of insurance policy, and they can advise very well, even on best practices and the insurance companies that can best meet the client's need and all of that. So it's advisable for would-be policy holders to consult, to look out for insurance brokers and not to walk straight to an insurance company.
But Doc, is that not because these insurance companies and the way they do their advert tell you can walk to our office, we are accessible 24/7. Now, as you are talking with technology, they are using all other means to make it simpler. That is why perhaps the broker, consultation is sidelined.
Yeah, it's sidelined because perhaps lack of information, publicity. A lot of people don't know that the brokers are recognized by the law to operate within the insurance space, to talk about, discuss insurance, help policyholders to make the right decisions, and to quicken, the pursuit of claim. People just walk up to insurance company. Yes, the insurance companies are doing adverts, but the policy documents have fine lines that are sometimes not easily understood by policyholders. And the only people that understand the inside out of every policy document are the insurance brokers. So that's why it's highly advisable that you consult insurance brokers before you make any insurance decision. It's very critical. It's important as, traveling through an agent who knows the route.
So, of course, even though we've discussed how beneficial insurance policies are, a lot of people still have their reasons why they would not want to sign on to insurance. And in your experience, what makes others avoid signing on to it? What are some of the reasons those that reject these policies give to you, insurance brokers?
Yeah, the fact is that ignorance or lack of information is largely the major cause of people not wanting to go pick insurance policy, a lack of publicity. But there are minimum insurance that even if you're ignorant, the law says this particular aspect of insurance or class of insurance are made compulsory, so you must comply. Otherwise, the default of the law. Then, for religious reason, a lot of people will say, oh, God forbid, it's not my portion. Both in the Quran, in the Bible, insurance is recommended. You have to keep something for the next of kin. Your children, your entire family are your next of kin in the real sense. So your parents who knows this try to get the product a policy that insulates should anything happen, because eventualities can happen when you least expect it, and that will be it. So without the covering, you become a dependent, or you create more hardship for people around you.
So what is the duration that meets the standards of insurance policies?
There's no duration, but usually maximum is 1 year.
Okay.
There are no duration per se. Yeah, so maximum is 1 year. So you pick up another one, you make another decision, and so on.
So that is where those who are, as you are putting, ignorant about the issue comes in, that insurance companies, exploit their customers, because if that year nothing happens, it means you are just repeating and then someone is enjoying. That's the layman's idea over there.
It's very wrong. The minimum insurance, or the basic one, is for 1 year. Now, for any other class of insurance you're picking, you're contributing to a pool. If the accident doesn't happen to the person, if there's no eventuality, so for you, maybe some other person within the pool have suffered, an eventuality, and the insurance company would indemnify the individual. Presumably that not everyone will be accidented at the same time. So that is why insurance is a business and not a gamble.
Okay. Interesting. It's a business but not a gamble. Okay, that's interesting. So in the event of, someone or a policyholder want to terminate the contract, how do they discontinue with the policy?
Yes, there are policies you don't terminate, like the minimum insurance, which is the basic, the ones the law, stipulate. You don't terminate it. It's for the 1 year. What you can do is that once that 1 year elapses, you can choose to go to another insurance company of your choice. You're not spellbound on one particular insurance. So, and you mustn't give it to somebody. In Nigeria, the touting in the insurance space has also contributed to the fake or the scam around insurance business. So I believe that is also what is happening within the rest part of Africa. The touts around insurance and those around motor vehicles registration center, where the minimum insurance is being issued. So you have a lot of fake ones there. So because of that, policyholders don't even know sometimes the right decision or what decision to make, and all of that. The fake in the sector is huge. I'll give you an example of I tried to help a friend of mine, get indemnified as a result of an accident. When we walk up to the man that did insurance, the agent, he was begging my friend that he's very sorry that the insurance document is a fake.
Wow.
So that he shouldn't go to the company. The company is not aware of this. So you can imagine this kind of thing everywhere. So he's preferring the sector, or depleting the capacity of one to really know what the sector is able to do, and also it's not a good way to allow businesses to thrive. The government needs to intervene in making sure that these fake policies that people are holding, cease to exist, because it's shortchanging the sector and the individual who is involved in an eventuality at any time it occurs.
All right. So finally, Doc, what would your advice be on the necessity for everyone to secure insurance policies, whether young or the old? With this explanation, I even understand that I even need an insurance.
Yeah, everyone needs an insurance, one form of insurance policy or the other, and constantly doing so is a good one. But my recommendation is, if you want to get an insurance policy, consult an insurance broker, talk to him on what you want. They understand risk. They will be able to explain to you on the kind of covering you would need, and you look out for, because from time to time the government keep, sledging the hammer on defaulters. Some of the insurance company that may default or may have loss in terms of capital base because of bad management, lack of good corporate governance. Some insurance company don't have capacity to pay claims. So where that happens, it's always on the news. In the news, you hear that this insurance company has been liquidated. Like in Nigeria, just about, I think this year or so, 2 insurance companies or more, were absorbed by other insurance company or licenses revoked. That's a way to go. And the regulatory authorities need to constantly check on this insurance company to make sure that their financials is okay. Their capacity to absorb risk is also buoyant, and they are also transferring risk, because for insurance company to be able to carry risk well, they should also be reinsuring the risk to other set of insurance companies called the reinsurance companies that absorb some part of the risk, reducing the impact on the main or the principal insurance company or the principal underwriter. So by so doing, when the government knows what insurance company is making and is able to see the insurance company is reinvesting so as to absorb itself of excess loss and so on. Because sometimes too, very interestingly, insurance company, when they look at the risk and the risk is huge, what they do is that they look at for other insurance companies that can help them carry the risk. Some client already knows this, so instead of giving a particular insurance the whole job, they will say, okay, let's 3 or 4 insurance company come in here and do and work on this risk. So doing, is the risk is distributed. The impact, should anything happen, will not be much. That's a clever way to look at it too.
Wow, so this has been very educative, interactive, and informative. Thank you very much, Dr. Way, for joining us here on Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM.
It's my pleasure to be here. I greet you all. Thanks so much.
In commemoration of World Day Against Human Trafficking in Persons, which comes up on 30th July, stakeholders have called for more awareness among political decision makers and the general public, in particular young people, women, and children, of the challenges involved in protecting and assisting victims of human trafficking. This was the fulcrum of a panel session organized by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, with several development partners on Thursday in Dakar. The workshop, which was pivoted on this year's theme, Reach Every Victim of Trafficking, Leave No One Behind, is to highlight stakeholder responses, in particular developing countries, to address the deteriorating rate of human trafficking. Speaking to WADR, Dr. Modi Njai, who is the Permanent Secretary of the National Committee for the Fight Against Trafficking in Persons and the Protection of Victims, CNLTP, in Senegal, noted that dealing with issues of human trafficking is a complex phenomenon, and he also remarked on the clear problems that confront them as an organization. Let's take a listen.
Today we are commemorating the day against the fight against trafficking in person, and in my presentation I try to explain what's the definition of trafficking in person, what is the main challenges in Senegal, and how the government is trying to tackle this daunting issue.
So, what are some of the assistance that are available for victims of human trafficking to work in the society? Because after they have come back to report, what are some of the available assistance that are in for them?
Yes, the thing is, we have a problem of identification of the victims, because victims generally don't know they are victims, and sometimes even if they know they are victims, they're ashamed. And when finally they get to be a victim, all things are not really available for their assistance. We lack fundings, we lack of shelters, we lack of sometimes coordination. And sometimes we try to do as much as possible good coordination, but sometimes it takes time. And as you know, as victim of traffic, is generally very they are in emergency. So we try, and that's what the good part of having all the partners, to put everybody aside together to see how everybody can just help the victim to have more protection.
All right, so the UNODC report states that 41% of these victims who even manage to escape, they reach out to their centers on their own accord. Mm-hmm. So I'm asking that what are the accessible contacts that would you suggest becomes available for these victims so that when they are in such situation, they can come in and report?
Yeah, the thing is we have to keep doing more sensibilization, more education, but the trafficking pattern is a very complex phenomena, and you can say by doing such acts you will change victim mind, because one thing we tend to forget is the victim of trafficking, a person are traumatized, and when sometimes someone is traumatized, you have to help him get out of the traumatism before he can be a normal person and be able to act and react as a normal person. And in our situation in Africa and Senegal, we tend to forget, or we're not understanding as well as possible the situation of psychological situation of the victim. So we still have to keep working on that to help them, bring them to life.
All right. So as stakeholders of this initiative, do you see a clear challenge of this incident not seeing an end in sight because government has failed on this part to support your initiative?
Actually, no. We can say that they're failing. We just it's a long process. So we have to keep doing what we are doing in order to find the solution one day. Because so far, even in developed countries, nobody has really get rid of trafficking person. As long as there be human beings, unfortunately try to tend to make those expectations as low as possible.
All right, so let's look at the theme. It says that reach every victim of trafficking and leave no one behind. How does that connect to your set objectives?
Difficult one, but the thing is, I will say it, each time we have one victim, it's too much, because as I stated earlier, human dignity is the most important thing. So we have to keep the level of dignity as high as possible to be able to protect everyone.
So finally, beyond these forums and symposium, the victims or the people that even need to get the information are on ground. So how do we transcend from here to get to them?
I mean, we have never been out of the ground. Today is the day of commemoration, so we gather more people and share. But our daily works, it's on the ground, and we see them on the ground. And even if they are not seen, we try to look after them and try to do our best.
Thank you very much for speaking.
Thank you very much.
So that was Dr. Modi Njai, the Permanent Secretary of the National Committee for the Fight Against Trafficking in Persons and the Protection of Victims, CNLTP, and Senegal, speaking there. So in rounding today's package, here is the take-home. To be able to better know the terms and conditions of any insurance policy, seeking a professional guidance from an insurance broker for better understanding and leveraging is key. An insurance broker will save you a lot from mediation with your insurance company to indemnify you against losses, and also from signing on to illegal and unlawful policy documents. Through that, you'll be able to explore potential policy covers and know how that can assist you in making real-life decisions to build a sustainable cushion for your life. And that is how we wrap up today's edition of Take the Lead on West Africa Democracy Radio, focused on knowing about insurance policies. I am James Ejapon, your host. Many thanks for listening, and we also thank our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM Lofa County, and in Ghana on Radio Pad 95.1 Savannah region. Remember to follow all our conversations on all our social media platforms on Twitter, now X, Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook, West Africa Democracy Radio English Service, and stream live on WADR.org. You can as well leave me a message via WhatsApp at +221 781 845 421. Let me take it again. +221 781 845 421. Just begin your message with hashtag take the lead, and I will definitely respond to you. Enjoy your day.